Alright guys, welcome back. This is the part 3 video about the RodeCaster video console. In this video specifically, we're going to be having a closer look at the Rode Central software that's going to allow us to control and customize and configure a bunch of different settings for the RodeCaster video itself wirelessly, remotely, just by simply being connected to the same Wi-Fi IP address, either via Wi-Fi or network connection, or also being connected to USB-C 2. So when you are first getting started with the RodeCaster video, you want to power on the RodeCaster video and plug it into your PC via the USB-C port number 2 and download and install the RodeCaster Central from the Rode website. Once you have downloaded and installed and you have the device connected, here we have the home page that's going to greet us for us to go ahead and select the RodeCaster video over here onto the left hand side to select a device to get started. So let's go ahead and click on this right here. So here we are greeted with the home page over here that has a bunch of different tabs, starting off with the scene builder, the audio mixer, the device configuration, auto switching, and stream profiles. We're going to be having a closer look at each one of these different tabs categories over here in further detail throughout the course of this video. So starting off over here to the right hand side, we do have this little gear icon. We can go ahead and select that and see what kind of options that we have available. So starting off at the top, we can go ahead and update the RodeCaster video device itself right over here. Search for any updates for the firmware. We could do a factory reset, the monitor out configuration. Currently right now I have it set to a USB-C interface, and we do have an option to select the folder for any local recordings, which I've configured and saved over here to a specific folder on my PC, and the app version and any optional firmware updates. We can go ahead and select that if we want to as well. So now that we are done over here in the general settings tab, let's start off with the top or left hand side over here, which is labeled as show to. So if we want to create a new show, we can go ahead and select this right here. We can also import and export our shows. So basically everything that we've kind of configured as far as the media and all the different scenes and inputs and overlays, we can save that or even export it to a file that we can easily access later on, along with adding a logo setting, little thumbnail. So we can go ahead and create and access these shows at any time, depending on what you're going to be live streaming, broadcasting, or recording. We can just easily get to them right over here by saving different shows. Which leads us next to the scene builder. Let's have a closer look at the scene builder. So starting off over here with the scene builder, to get you guys a little bit more familiar, let's go ahead and start onto the left hand side, which is our media library, which are any files that we want to import from our PC into our media library for the RodeCaster video. So for an example over here, we have some JPEG images along with some PNG that I've used for the overlays, along with some wave audio as well that I can introduce into my live stream, and along with some MP4 videos. So we can come over here to the bottom left hand corner and select add media, which is going to come into our PC to whatever folder we have that media saved to, and we can go ahead and add that into our live stream or recording right over here into the media library. So next over here, right into the middle of the screen, you can see that we do have this video image being displayed right now, and this is actually our preview window. So basically we're going to be able to preview and adjust and configure any kind of settings before we go ahead and press the cut button over here, which is going to go out to our program, and we can also use the auto button as well. So right now, why don't we go ahead and do that by pressing the cut button, and bang, now that image that we were just looking at is being sent live to our viewers, and currently this is the preview screen for my next configuration. And same thing goes for the next one over here. Let's go ahead and press cut, and as you can see, number 3 is now highlighted in red because that is sent to the program, and number 2 is what I'm viewing right now in the preview. So this is preview HDMI 1, preview HDMI 2, and preview HDMI 4. We can also go ahead and preview our scenes that I've created over here on the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and we can go ahead and cut to any of these scenes if we would like to. So hopefully now you're a little bit more familiar. So just to briefly recap, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 are my HDMI inputs. 5 and 6 I can configure to webcams or some audio interface. This one over here is actually a fade to black. So if I cut to this one, it's going to actually fade my live stream to black. For an example, if I want to take a pause or a break or end my live stream. Next over here, as I just mentioned, we currently have my 7 different scenes that I've configured via the A all the way to G buttons. Next over here, we do have another row of buttons, starting off with this one at the top. If we go ahead and select it, you can see now A to G are highlighted in like a purpley pink color because I assigned each one of these buttons over here A to G with different media. So let's go ahead and select media A, and this is what the media A is. This is actually a video that I've preloaded over here into my media library. Next over here to media B, this is also a video right over here that I've configured in my media library. So I just basically select it, grab it, and drop it in just like that. And that's exactly what I've done for each one. Here we have is another video that I've picked from my media library, loaded from my PC to C. Here we have is D, is another video that I'm ready to play during my live stream. And here is E, this is just a JPEG image that I'm going to use for a background. As you guys saw when I had my backgrounds for my scenes, that is the same blue background that we were using. So let's go over to F. And F is also another PNG image that I've used for my Chroma key background. So if you guys don't recall, let's come over here. As you guys can see, this is my Chroma key. Normally I would be standing right here in front talking to the camera, and that is my background, which is Chroma keyed. If you guys want to see the before and after the Chroma key, I can go ahead and select this green button over here, the Chroma key button. And for an example, what that's going to allow me to do is to either turn it on or to turn it off so you guys can see the before and after. So let's just go ahead and leave it on for now. So now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with my media tabs over here, the last one that I did not look at yet is G, and this one is actually an audio file that I've selected, an MP3 or WAV file that I've added into my media that I can play at any time during my live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick little example on how to actually delete and add media onto these different pads from A to G. So let's go ahead and use B as an example. So here we have B, and I'm going to come over here to the right, and there is a little delete button. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and it's asking me, are you sure you want to delete B? Yes, I want to delete B. So now you can see that B does not have a color assigned to it, but I just clicked on it and now it does have that white box around it. So for an example, once I've come over here to my media library and I found what I want to add, let's just kind of scroll down over here. Let's go ahead and add this 1920 by 1080p MP4 video file. So let's grab it, hold and click, and drag it into B, and now it is assigned to B. So let's go ahead and preview that by clicking on it, and bang, here is that video. And if I wanted to go ahead and play that video, I can go ahead and press cut and auto, and it's going to be sent to my program. As you guys can see over here, this is my multi-view screen, which you guys would be looking at if you were the RodeCaster video operator. This is one of my HDMI outputs, which I'm looking at my multi-view screen, which is showing me a bunch of different information. For more about this multi-view screen, I recommend taking a look at my video part 2 of the RodeCaster video. So now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with the media library, the media tab, and how to add different sources into these different buttons, A to G, let's go ahead and turn it off for now, and let's just go ahead and select my scene A, scene B, C, D, E, F, and G. So how did I actually configure all of these? So let's go ahead and select maybe C for an example. So let's go ahead and select C. Now that I've selected, it is highlighted in green, and over here you can see onto the right hand side we do have a bunch of configurations. So this is my multi-source, so I can go ahead and select that, open that. If I wanted to change it, we have all of these different options over here. So let's go ahead and maybe pick a different pattern. So let's click this one, which is this one right over here. So as you can see that I have my background selected to my blue background, and frame A has camera 1, frame B has camera 2, and frame C has camera C. So what we need to do is go ahead and assign the frame D over here. So let's go ahead and select it. We're going to go ahead and pick from our different inputs or from our media. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select from one of my different inputs, and I believe I want to select camera number 4. So bang, here we go. Now we got camera number 4 over here. This is a nice layout. Let's continue seeing what other options that we have. As you guys can see, we do also have the border. We can apply it to turn it on or to turn it off. And we can also adjust the color as well. So we can change this to any color, along with being able to change the size as well. So we can go and have some nice customization depending on what you want to do. So now that you're a little bit more familiar on how to create and configure your different scenes, let's go ahead and use B as an example. We're going to go ahead and delete it and start from scratch. So as you can see, I just deleted scene B. I'm going to go ahead and select scene B right now, and we can go ahead and pick from a template, or we can go ahead and do our own custom scene as well, different layout. For now, let's just go ahead and pick from one of the templates. So here we go. Let's go ahead and click on the layout options over here. Let's go to more. Which one do I want? I want to use this one right over here. So let's go ahead and select a background. I'm going to use my media. Let's use the white studio. So for frame A, I want to use one of my inputs. Let's do a camera 1. No, let's do not camera 1. Let's do camera 2. All right, good. For frame B, let's do another one of my inputs, which is going to be camera 3. And for frame C, let's use one of my media, and let's go with a video. I want to play a video. Maybe if you do not like the background, we can go ahead and reselect it. Let's use that blue background, which I feel is a lot better. Let's change the border to like a white color, and boom, that looks nice and clean cut. I'm happy with the white border. So there you go, easily created a scene. So now that you're a little bit more familiar on how to create and configure your different scenes, let's go ahead and select scene A for now. And why don't we go ahead to the next topic that I want to discuss, which is the overlays. So for us to go ahead and do that, what we want to do is just go ahead and select the overlay tab over here. So let's go ahead and select it. And now you see these buttons over here from A to G are highlighted in blue because I do have my overlays already configured. So for us to go ahead and now activate the overlay, you just want to go ahead and click on one of these letters here, A to G. So here we go. This is overlay A. Then you can see it just popped up over here, live stream, onto the bottom right hand corner. So from my opinion, in my experience, I feel that it is best to actually just kind of organize your overlays as best as possible. Again, it all kind of comes down to the type of overlay that you're using and the positioning and whatnot, but I'll probably come across an example that I'll show you guys right now. So here is an example. Perfect. So I created this overlay, but since I changed my scene, it's not really working too good. So I may want to adjust or configure or change my overlay. So why don't we go ahead and, like I did, turn on my overlay, and over here to the right hand side, now I can select adjust, and what that's going to allow me to do is reposition it and even resize it to any kind of size that I want, and basically just put it anywhere onto the screen. Again, these are custom PNG files that I created, and now I can just simply go ahead and load them over here to my media library and then assign them. So why don't we go ahead and start from scratch just to make it self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and use overlay B as an example so I can show you guys how to actually just start off from scratch and adding your own overlays. So let's go ahead and deselect it, and now you can see onto the bottom right hand side we do have an option to delete it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete the overlay B. And now you can see the B tab is now not highlighted in blue because there is nothing there. So let's go ahead and select B. So just coming over here to the left hand side, let's see what I want to add to replace that overlay that I just deleted. And right over here we have a Leo Pazzo logo, black PNG, 1920 by 1080. So let's just go ahead and click on it and drag it into the overlay B. And now you can see overlay B is highlighted in blue. So let's go ahead and turn it on. And there it is. It's basically taken up the whole image over here. So what I want to do is actually go and adjust it. So I'm going to select adjust, and now I can crop this to any size that I want to. I can even crop the horizontal. I can even crop the vertical as well. So it only takes up so much real estate if I need to. So it all depends on your PNG file that you created and the shape and size of it and all that. But let's find a nice little home for this. We got to scale this down a little bit smaller now that we've placed it in between these two video sources, and we can toggle it on and off when we want to. So let's go ahead and turn off overlay B. Let's have a closer look at overlay C. But before I do that, I'm going to select scene C and then go ahead and select my overlay tab and then click overlay C. So this is the way that I've specifically configured this. As you guys can see, we've already made changes to my scene C as we were showing you guys before, and now my overlay is not in the best position. So let's just go ahead and select adjust. Why don't we reposition it over here, rescale the size a little bit bigger as well, and bang, just like that, we do have our overlay nice and configured, and it looks fantastic. We can turn it on and off. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next overlay that we have. So let's use the scene D as an example. Let's select overlay D, and now we have it over here to the left hand side. Same idea. Let's select scene E. Let's select overlay E. Same idea, toggle it on and off. And when we go ahead and switch scenes, this overlay is also going to apply. So there is an example, as I was talking about earlier, depending on the positioning and sizing of your overlay, you may be able to use them for all of your different scenes and inputs. So that's why I find organizing your overlays is very important. So let's go ahead and have a look at some additional options that we have over here to the bottom right hand corner, which are our fade and dip and wipe. So let's go to wipe, and let's go to maybe like a box wipe, and we do have these little icons here that we can go ahead and select. Let's select this one right over here. Okay, so we've selected our transition. So just to go ahead and show you, when we press the cut button, it's literally just doing a straight cut. If we want that transition to come into effect, we actually have to press auto. So I can give you an example. You can see over there onto the right hand screen, onto the multi-view, it's doing that little transition with that cross. Again, don't forget we are looking at the preview screen, so my program out is what this effect transition is actually coming into effect to. So now that we've configured the transition that we want to use, now let's go ahead and adjust the duration of that transition. So currently right now I have it set to 2 seconds. We can increase it all the way up to 10 seconds. So for an example, let's just use a 3-second duration for that transition. And I'm going to go ahead and do the auto button over here, which is going to make that transition over that length of period. So next, finally, to the very top right hand side, we do have an option to go over here and start recording our isolated recordings, and also for live streaming as well. Currently we are not recording the isolated recordings, as I'm just demonstrating this over here on my PC. So now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with the scene builder page over here, which is super powerful, let's go ahead and exit back over here and take a look next at our audio mixer. So taking a look at the audio mixer over here, we do have this little drop down, so we can go ahead and select any of these options: the live mix, headphones 1 or 2, monitor recording, etc., USB chat. So having a look at all the different inputs that I currently have selected over here, from combo jack 1, combo jack 2, the video clip, sound, Bluetooth, USB 5, wireless 1 and 2, and we can go ahead and add others if we would like to over here via this plus icon. So now that you have all of your different audio inputs that you may want to adjust and control, and we can go ahead and move these around if you want to whatever type of order you would like to, so we can just kind of fine tune it the way that we like. So we can do some audio processing and adjusting right over here via the Aphex Master Compeller. We got the threshold, attack, release, and gain. We can deactivate it or activate it and make any kind of changes over here if we would like to. We can actually have further control. Let's use combo 1 jack over here. If we just hover over it, we can see this gear icon, and now it's going to open up further controls. For an example, we can adjust the gain. We can select what type of microphone that we are using: SM7B, the RE20, the NT1, broadcaster, pod mic, condenser, dynamic, whatever type of microphone you want to select, you can go ahead and do that. We can link 1 and 2 microphones as well, and either turn on or off the phantom power, 48 volts. We do have the option for processing to either enable it or disable it. Currently right now you can see we have it active, and we can go ahead and click on this drop down, which is going to give us some other further controls: high pass filter, de-esser, noise gate, compressor, 3-band EQ, exciter, and panning. And we can go ahead and further adjust this audio controls as much as we need to. So depending on what audio inputs you have, you can go ahead and select this gear icon, and you can go ahead and pair the device. If it's going to be a wireless device, we can adjust the depth, the sparkle, and the punch, and we can either enable processing, adjust the gain, and so on, and adjust the level. So overall, we do have quite a bit bit of control over here. So next, let's go ahead and have a closer look over here, which is the audio delay. We can go ahead and increase or decrease that delay depending on how much of an audio delay there is. And we can select either from frames per second or also milliseconds as well. In my case, it was just easier to calculate using the frames, and it seems in my test that it is approximately off the audio delay about 6 frames or so. So now that you're a little bit more familiar with the audio mixer, let's exit out of here and take a look at the next option over here, which is device configuration. So let's just quickly go through this briefly. So right now we are in the video tab. We do also have the audio, the display, and the system. So I'm not going to go ahead and click on the system right now because it does show my IP address. So let's just keep that off. So let's start off from the beginning, which is the video tab. Underneath the video tab, we have HDMI output, the frame rate, the switching, the recording. So underneath HDMI output, we can configure each one of those HDMI outputs A or B to either be the multi-view, program, or preview. As you guys see, I have both of them set to multi-view, and in most cases I would set, for an example, HDMI A, I would set it to multi-view, and HDMI B, I would set it to program. So next over here, we do have the frame rate option. So let's go ahead and select that so you can see all the different frame rates that it supports, from 2398 frames per second all the way up to 60 frames per second. Here we have the switching mode, so we can go ahead and select instant switching or studio switching. And my preference, I prefer to use studio switching. And finally over here, we do have the recording mode to go ahead and enable the isolated recordings. I definitely have this one turned on because I do want to record all of my video inputs to separate files, along with all of my audio tracks, multi-track recording, which is going to be all condensed into one folder, nice and organized between all of my audio files and all of my video files for further editing for post-production. This is definitely a fantastic feature. Next, let's go ahead and have a closer look at audio. So underneath headphones, we can go ahead and select what type of headphones that we are using. We can got the monitor option as well to turn on the fixed output level. We got the multi-track recording. So it's going to record our multi-track audio recordings, but how do you want it to be recorded? Do you want that multi-track recording to be totally off? Do you want that multi-track recording to be the pre-fader audio recordings, or do you want it to be post-fader? So depending on your configuration, on what you want, ideally in my case, I like to use either post-fader or the pre-fader. And we do have the option for the recording itself and also sending it via USB. Finally, we do have the HDMI output. As far as the audio, I just have my HDMI output set to off, but in some cases you may want to turn on the live mix. Finally, over here, we do have the display, which is just simply the display buttons of the LEDs on each one of the buttons on the console itself. And then finally, let's just go ahead to briefly to system. And as you can see over here underneath the network tab, I do have the Wi-Fi turned on and connected to my home Wi-Fi, along with being hardwired to the RodeCaster video switcher itself with a network cable. Next, we have the time and date configuration, the Bluetooth, and also some general device info. So now that you guys are more familiar with the device configuration, let's go ahead and have a closer peek at the auto switching. So we can go ahead, it's basically giving us just a description on how it's going to work, more or less, a little bit better understanding. We can go ahead and read all of this auto switching information over here on how to actually configure it all, and we can go ahead and select get started. And now from here, we're going to be able to select either the scene or the different inputs, and now we're going to be able to either turn it on or off. We can select the priority from high, medium, and low, and we can link audio to those different scenes. So in scene B, if I just have maybe one person speaking, I might want to do combo 1, and then for scene C, I may want to also turn it on. I might want to put it to low priority, and I might want to link it to combo jack number 2, and we can go ahead and continue to set this all up for the rest of our inputs as well if we want to turn on auto switching. So just going back over here, finally, we do have the stream profiles. Underneath the stream profiles, as you can see, I have configured already with the Leo Pazzo TV YouTube, Leo Pazzo TV Facebook, and Twitch Live. I'm in the process as well. So we can go ahead and give it a name. We can enter the server URL and along with the stream key. This is where you would enter this information from that social media platform that you want to stream to. Once you have done that, you can go ahead and save it or delete it. And in general, any stream settings, I currently have the stream quality set to high, but we could also use medium and low. So just coming back over here to the home page of the Rode Central, as you guys can see, this is a very powerful software, nice and convenient to be able to control the console itself wirelessly and configure everything along with a bunch of different settings. It really allows us to take our live stream broadcast and recordings to the next level. Well guys, it looks like we reached that time of the video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have actually learned something along the way. If you do have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section down below, and I will remind you that down in the description of this video I'm going to be leaving a link of a playlist of all of my videos that I've created specifically about the RodeCaster video, from part 1, part 2, and this video being part 3, and any other future videos that I may create. Much love. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Till next time. Peace.